It was the spring of 2023, deep in the pine forests of northern Michigan, when a truck driver made a frantic call to local police. He claimed that just outside Manistee County, something massive had stepped onto the road in front of his rig. A creature standing upright, 7 feet tall, covered in dark fur, its eyes glowing gold in the headlights. He said it wasn't a bear. It wasn't a man. It was something in between. The dashcam caught only a blur, a shadow crossing the road in 2 impossible strides. By the time officers arrived, the forest was silent again. No tracks, no scent, just the echo of that terrified voice on the 911 recording. It looked like a dog, but it was walking like me. That was the most recent report of the Dogman, a legend that's been haunting the backwoods of America for over a century. Welcome to the mystery of the Dogman, a creature said to walk upright through the forests of the Midwest, half beast, half man. A nightmare made real through hundreds of eyewitness accounts, ancient folklore, and a presence that refuses to fade with time. This is not a werewolf story, though it might sound like one. This is something older, stranger, and far less easy to explain. Our journey begins in the quiet timberlands of Michigan, where the legend first took root. The earliest known report dates back to 1887 in Wexford County. 2 lumberjacks working late into the night claimed they saw something standing between the trees. A creature with the body of a man, the head of a wolf, and glowing eyes that reflected the moonlight. When it turned its head toward them, they froze. It didn't growl. It didn't move. It just stared, as if weighing whether they were worth chasing. The men ran for their lives, and the story of the Dogman was born. Over the decades that followed, the stories multiplied. Hunters, hikers, and farmers from across the Midwest told of a towering, fur-covered figure that could walk upright like a man, but ran on all 4s when it wanted speed. Its howl, they said, wasn't quite wolf, but not human either. Something deeper, something that seemed to echo inside the bones. Then came 1987, exactly 100 years after that first sighting. And the legend went from whispered campfire tale to national obsession. That year, a radio DJ named Steve Cook from Traverse City recorded a playful April Fool's song called The Legend. He made it up, or thought he did. It was meant as a spooky joke, a local ghost story put to music. But after the song aired, the phone lines lit up. Listeners began calling in, claiming the story was real. Some said they'd seen it just months before. Others said their parents or grandparents had told them about a similar creature years earlier. One man claimed he'd been camping near Reed City when a dog-like creature approached his tent on 2 legs, sniffing the canvas before disappearing into the dark. A hunter called to say he'd fired at a shadow in the woods and heard it howl, not like an animal in pain, but like something angry. What started as a prank suddenly sounded like a pattern. Soon, reports were coming in from across Michigan and beyond. Wisconsin, Ohio, Kentucky, and even Maine, all with eerily similar details. A tall, muscular figure, covered in hair, walking upright, its face a snarling cross between a wolf and a man. In Elkhorn, Wisconsin, witnesses called it the Beast of Bray Road. Truckers and farmers along that stretch of highway began to share stories of something following their vehicles, sometimes keeping pace at highway speed, then vanishing when headlights caught its eyes. Every state seemed to have its own version, but the heart of the legend, the Dogman, always led back to Michigan. Skeptics dismissed it as imagination, a case of misidentified wolves, bears, or even people in costumes. But for those who claim to have seen it, the experience was anything but imaginary. They all described the same feeling, an unnatural silence before the encounter, as though the forest itself were holding its breath. Then the sense of being watched, a rustle behind them, and the unmistakable sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate, and heavy, walking on 2 feet. When they turned to look, they saw something that should not exist. One hunter from the Upper Peninsula described the eyes best. They looked human, but wrong, like someone was trapped inside a monster's face, and they wanted you to know it. So what is the Dogman? Is it a cryptid, an undiscovered species, a relic predator that survived extinction? Or is it something older, a spirit, a guardian, or a curse, carried forward through centuries of folklore? To understand that possibility, we have to look deeper, back to the stories told long before Michigan was Michigan. Among the Anishinaabe and Odawa tribes, there are tales of shapeshifters, beings who could walk between the worlds of man and beast. They were not monsters, but warnings, spirits of nature, meant to remind humans that the wild still holds dominion over us. Some elders say the Dogman is one of these spirits, a creature that appears when nature is disrespected, when balance is broken. Not a killer, but a watcher. Others believe it's the soul of a cursed man, forever trapped between forms, a punishment for crossing lines best left untouched. In the modern world, technology has given the legend new life. Dashcams, night vision cameras, and smartphone footage have flooded the internet. Most explainable, some less so. A hunter's trail cam in Wisconsin once captured a tall, fur-covered figure crouching near a deer carcass. When investigators returned to the site, the carcass was gone, but the marks left behind were not made by any known animal. Another video, filmed in Kentucky, shows a hulking figure crossing a rural road in 3 steps. For a moment, its head turns toward the camera, and the eyes reflect light like a predator's. No one has ever proven the clip fake. Even now, police stations across Michigan still receive calls every year. Late-night reports of something following people along wooded roads. Sometimes, it's just a pair of glowing eyes spotted through fog. Sometimes, it's a roar that shakes the windows. And sometimes, it's footprints, deep, clawed, and bipedal, found in the snow outside a farmhouse. No clear photos, no bodies, only stories. But stories that refuse to die. Some cryptozoologists, researchers of creatures not yet recognized by science, believe the Dogman could be real. Perhaps a rare mutation of the wolf, a hybrid between man and beast, born through myth and fear. Others believe it's a tulpa, a manifestation of human belief itself, that the more we talk about it, the more real it becomes, that perhaps somewhere deep in those endless forests, our collective imagination has given birth to something tangible. But maybe the truth lies somewhere between science and superstition. Maybe the Dogman is not a creature at all, but a symbol, the last breath of the wilderness, reminding us that it still exists. Because we have tamed the world, paved it, fenced it, lit it up with cities and sound. But there are still places where the forest grows thick, where fog curls around the trees, and where something ancient still moves unseen. And maybe, every so often, it steps into the light. Not to attack, not to speak, but simply to remind us that not everything has been explained. So if you ever find yourself driving down a dark back road in northern Michigan, and the radio goes silent, and your headlights catch movement just beyond the tree line, slow down, listen. You might hear breathing. You might see eyes that shine gold in the dark. Don't get out. Don't call its name. Because the Dogman is not just a story. It's a reminder that somewhere out there, the wilderness still remembers us. This is the mystery of the Dogman, a creature seen but never caught, a legend that refuses to die, and maybe it's a shadow that walks beside us in every forest we've ever tried to forget. Some myths are born from fear, but some are fear itself.